Canada, welcome back to another edition of the Canadian Citizen Journal. I'm your host, alias Guy. So as of midnight of last night, Jagmeet Singh gets his pension. So I figured what a perfect time to, celebrate along with him and see, especially in the last, 7 or 8 months here, how he really did Canada so darn good and deserves that pension. Let's take a look.
Happened recently, which really for us was a pretty big deal. There's a line in the sand that was crossed. A line that was crossed when Justin Trudeau, for our Teamster brothers and sisters that were on strike, and he forced binding arbitration. That was wrong. Not only was that wrong, what he sent was a message that if an employer mistreats the working people.
Okay, wait a minute. Like, he just been mistreating us by not giving us election?
Negotiates in bad faith.
When he keeps saying he's gonna have Trudeau ousted and doesn't? That's bad faith, right?
Doesn't actually honor the agreements of the workers.
Isn't that kind of the oath of a politician? I think he broke that one too.
Undermines a good process from going on.
Stopped us from having an election. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in the last 6 months. Is he talking about himself?
Rewarded that bad faith. He rewarded that bad faith by saying, okay, if you hurt the worker, we're going to give you what you want anyway and force binding arbitration.
Oh, right, and give him his pension. He's talking about himself.
So we want to send a message. That's a breach of trust with working people. That was wrong and it was shameful. What happened recently?
Yeah, pretty much. Huh. Give him hell, Vashi.
I have to also ask you, Mr. Singh, why now? And in particular, I've done so many interviews with you. I'm sure you're sick of them, where I ask you the question, like, this is the way in which you're describing the government. Why are you still keeping them in power? I don't understand what changed, saliently over the last number of days or weeks that led you to make this decision now versus, let's say, 6 months ago. You point to corporate greed, for example, particularly in the grocery sector. Food prices were at their highest over a year ago, and the government wasn't doing much even then. Why didn't that force you to make this decision? Is this more about really polling and your electoral chances, and some would accuse in the Conservatives your pension?
Not at all. First of all, let's put that to rest. That's a lie being propagated by Pierre Poilievre, who's, I think, got his full pension when he was like 31. So I don't know. He wants to cut people's pensions. Speaking of pensions, he wants to cut seniors' pensions.
That's a lie.
That's what we should be talking about, the fact that we want to defend and strengthen people's pensions, and he wants to cut them. I think people should know about that. But when it comes to decision, we always knew that at some point we would have to make this decision, that we weren't going to stay in this forever, and we would make that decision based on a whole host of factors. What we saw was that we got a lot of things done. We were able to get the dental care program out the door. Pharmacare steps have been passed in Parliament. So a lot of the work that we wanted to do is done. And it became very clear, more and more evidence mounted that the Liberals were simply too beholden to corporate interest.
What's the evidence?
And that's not going to meet the needs of Canadians.
With due respect, what is the recent evidence that underscores that point that didn't already exist 6 or 8 months ago?
I would say the approach towards working people when it comes to the rail workers. I was really concerned about that. I raised those concerns very publicly, that these workers were just asking for more safety, and that CP and CPKC and CN Rail, in a lot of ways, what looks like a collusion of timing this together. They locked out the workers. First of all, the workers weren't even on strike. They locked out the workers, and the workers weren't even able to negotiate before they were forced to binding arbitration. Another example of the Liberals caving to the corporate interests instead of letting workers fight out and get a fair deal at the table. Just that was another example of mounting evidence. We got a lot of things done. The Liberals aren't able to do more for people, and we've toned up our agreement, and we're going to go vote to vote.
So if they had behaved differently in that labor dispute, would you still be in this agreement?
I don't want to deal with hypotheticals. They did what they did, and it became very clear to me that they were no longer able to meaningfully tackle the problems that people are going through. They've shown again and again, and the evidence has got to the point where we said they cannot take on the major issues of the day. The fact that corporate landlords are rent evicting people, jacking up rents, they're not going to take that on. And they're not doing what's necessary, so we tore up the agreement. And the next election, again, is going to be a choice. People want change. They're going to replace Justin Trudeau. Do they choose Pierre Poilievre, the Conservatives, who want to let big corporations rip off people even more? They're going to put fire on the fuel of corporate greed. Or New Democrats, who are saying, let's make people the priority. Let's protect people from the corporate greed of these large, powerful interests, and let's make sure people get lower rents and lower grocery prices.
But again, with great respect, all of the stuff that you lay out, we have been talking about, you and I, you and other politicians. There has been accountability directed at the government and questions about why they aren't doing more on those issues that you talk about affordability, about grocery prices, about corporate interests for over a year. Like, it was particularly difficult for Canadians. I mean, inflation has edged down, but prices are up 20% over the last 3 years, and they were super high a year ago. My question isn't hypothetical. You are raising the idea that the CN Rail dispute and their handling of it really was it a turning point? Like, again, I'm not clear why this wasn't a decision you didn't make earlier, unless now you see that your personal interest is better served and you didn't before.
Well, like I mentioned, we got work done. We got things done, things completed. We wanted to make sure dental care was completed. To at least the second phase include seniors, and a lot of that program was done over the summer. So that completed
but it's not totally
a significant
done,
part of
and
our
neither
agreement.
is pharmacare. It's
so
still before the Senate.
That was really important. This summer, actually, we got the portal. We got some major changes. So we got a lot of work done, and it became very clear.
Look at Vashi's face. The programs have started, but nothing's passed through. It's not locked in. Now Parliament's down. This guy's such a liar.
Clear with their approach towards workers in the rail situation that, again, another example of caving to corporate interests. And so we made it very clear that they're no longer able to meaningfully tackle the problems that people are going through. We've torn up the agreement because they're
Right,
too...
that's about enough of that, because he just keeps saying, I tore up the agreement, I tore up the agreement, but I tore up the agreement, but I tore up the agreement.
They bring any legislation forward that undermines the workers, whether it's back to work legislation or otherwise, we will vote against it, even if it's confidence. I want to make it crystal clear, and I'm very serious about this.
Canada Post says,
Hey, you heard it from the man right there. You heard it live from the man. Yeah, that's right. There were 3 confident votes after he said that. And like I said, I was going to try and build like the 30 videos that I've seen him in different rallies, different strikes, where he kept saying that over and over and over again. It's this guy, the hypocrisy coming from this guy is just absolutely insane.
Justin Trudeau has proven again and again that he will never stand up to the elites, that he will always cave to corporate greed. And Canadians pay for it every time we pay our bills, buy our groceries, or pay the rent.
As he's standing there in his Armani suit with his Rolex watch, which actually he's smart now. He doesn't wear that when he's in front of the cameras because too many people busted with him. And for last I heard, he's up to 7 Rolexes now. And the Maserati and the Beamer. And how much real estate? Yeah, he's just an everyday Joe.
Justin Trudeau has let Canadians down. And Canadians are done with his endless disappointment and delay.
Oh my god, this guy is so bad. I hope all you union people are realize he's caused you more harm than good. And then what he's done to the rest of Canada is dragging everybody down. This guy,
given the amount of times
idiot.
you have said all of those things, both in front of microphones, to cameras, to Canadians, I think they already know. I think that you've laid it out pretty clearly for them what their choices will be. What I don't understand still is, to quote Gwen Stefani, what you waiting for? Like, what's the holdup? Why wouldn't you just trigger an election? Are you not ready? Is your party not ready for an
We're
election?
absolutely ready, but I'm not going to speculate about when that's going to happen. I'm not going to be a pundit and talk about election dates. What I'm going to talk about is what I'm going to do for people.
No, you're a leader. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, but I'm not going to speculate. I don't know what the votes are going to be. I don't know what they're going to be presenting us. So I'm not going to box myself in.
Okay.
But what I can tell people is there will be an election in 2025.
Sure.
And I'm ready to fight it. and people have an important choice to make.
You've said on this program and many times before, this will be a case-by-case basis. What's the case that would see you continue to support them?
Well, like I said, I don't want to speculate on it. But if we've got scenarios
what still
where...
do you need from them? I get what you were getting before from the supply and confidence agreement, dental care, pharmacare, but what do you still need from them that would garner your support and confidence?
Well, here's a concrete scenario. We've got Trump coming in at the end of January, and he's going to impose tariffs. Do we vote on retaliatory tariffs to say, no, we're not going to take that, we're going to fight back, but it's going to cost you? If you think that you can put tariffs on us and get away with no harm, it's going to hurt you. It's going to cost Americans. It's going to raise the cost of items in America. So we've got a choice between a vote on retaliatory tariffs or triggering an election. And what's in the best interest of Canadians? What's in the best interest of hundreds of thousands of workers who say, well, I don't want my jobs to be at risk. I want you to fight back and protect my jobs. I don't know what's going to happen. And so that's why I'm not going to speculate. But what I am going to say is there's going to be an election. And in that election, people will have that choice. You Democrats who want to bring down the cost of your groceries, want to build homes that you can afford. Conservatives want to let CEOs rip you off even more. That's an important choice.
Last question. Given the mess that we're in right now, what we've seen happen, reading that letter, do you regret not bringing down this government sooner? No regrets. What I'm focused on is we've delivered for people. We brought in dental care. We brought in pharmacare. A million people in Canada have been able to go to the dentist and fix their teeth because we fought to make that happen. So we're going to keep on fighting for people. A lot of people would say those two boxes are checked. Time for you to act on what you've been saying all along, that it's time for Trudeau to go.
There's going to be an election.
I know that there is. All right, even grade 11 civics classes know that there's going to be an election.
So
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, thank you for coming in today.
Unbelievable. This guy is unbelievable. And then...
Yeah, Sandy. So for the third time, the Conservatives' attempts to bring down the Liberal government failed. This time, they tried to use the NDP leader's words against him in a way to try to convince him to vote for this motion. But that effort was not successful. Only the Bloc backed it. We saw the NDP vote against this motion, helping prop up the Liberal government yet again. And at this point, Sandy, they are the only opposition party in the House of Commons to still be backing the Liberals.
Okay.
Yeah, over and over and over. But then there's people that actually know what's really happening. And even though I don't like this guy who's going to talk, at least he said it true.
How might the federal NDP decision to reverse its backing for the Liberals at this point impact your decision on a possible early election?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, MP Singh he's just blowing smoke. There's nothing more important to these greedy politicians than collecting a pension. And he was elected in October 2019, and October 19th, 2019. And I'll be floored, and I'll stand up here and apologize to all the greedy politicians if he calls the election early. But let's face it, he wants his pension. He's not going anywhere until October, let's say 20th, 2025. Because there's him and a whole bunch of other politicians that want to grab the taxpayers' money. So my bet is he's not doing anything. He's just putting on a big show like he has for the last number of years there.
Based on...
Boom. Not often I say it, but thanks, Doug.
Greed is not a Canadian value. There's a...
Yeah, greed. Greed is not a Canadian value.
They don't own your vote. You own your vote. You can choose in this election to have someone that's going to fight for you, that someone's going to stand up for you. And in this election, I want to be clear. I'm running to be your prime minister because I want to make a difference in the lives of Canadians.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's celebrate Jagmeet Singh's pension. Considering and think about him every day. Lord knows, doing what I do, I see his face. I see his smug, lying face every day, and I have to go through it over and over so I can put together little wee clips like this that entertain you. So, this one's to Jagmeet. I very much can't wait until we finally can have an election and get this guy out. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Canadian Citizen Journal. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Punch that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. I will talk to you soon.